Angry Bears Fan Podcast, episode 26, little impromptu one. Just a lot of shit happened today. The draft is the day after we normally shoot. So we thought we'd get one last episode in. We'll give our final mock drafts each, one with a trade, one without a trade. And then we'll kind of discuss a lot of things have changed. I mean, even since our last episode, a lot of things have changed in the draft. But to get started, as Tom's got up in his background, Aaron Rodgers officially traded to the Jets. What was the official deal?
So the official deal was the Jets get Aaron Rodgers. They're swapping first-round picks, so Green Bay will get 13. Jets will get 15. And Green Bay will get a second-round pick this year. The Jets will get a fifth-round pick this year. And the Packers will also get a fourth or fifth round pick or something like that. And then they get a conditional second round pick next year that turns into a first if Aaron Rodgers plays 65% of the games next year. So
if he doesn't retire, basically.
Yeah, the Jets got fleeced.
Think so?
Deal. Yeah, I really do, because you're giving up 2 first-rounders, essentially, and a second-rounder for a 39-year-old quarterback.
What do you mean 2 first-rounders, essentially? Like moving up?
Because the second-round pick next year, yeah, you're moving up 2 spots, and you're also getting that first-round pick next year because Aaron Rodgers will probably play 65% of the games next year.
I mean, either he's going to retire or, yeah, he's playing, so it's one or the other. I don't really see it so much as a fleece. I guess it kind of feels like that when we saw Russell Wilson play. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be that bad. It's their quarterback away. Who the hell were they going to draft? Like, what were they going to draft?
Completely. If you're New York, you had to make the move without a doubt. But I just think
because what is it? A first? It's a second and a next first, essentially, and a move up in the draft. 2 spots. What's that? A third round pick, we'll say. Third, maybe fourth, to move up 2 spots, whatever you want to call it.
And you and I talked about this. That's huge implications for the Bears with Green Bay moving up those 2 spots, because JSN is probably going to be their target unless they take a tackle.
I heard they want a tight end too, so that could help us. There's going to be a good tight end, a good tackle, a quality wide receiver. I don't know if good's the word, but a quality wide receiver.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like you said, the draft is on Thursday. We'll be shooting our episode on Thursday. You said
either live or I mean, either way, we're gonna try and live stream. Either way, me and you will be live, and you know what I mean. I'll post it right after the. I doubt many people would have watched the live stream anyway, with especially for Thursday. For Thursdays, at least, that's the good one on ESPN, the broadcast for everybody's. Yeah, I really hope. I don't know. I mean, they're moving up, but that doesn't really hurt us. They're not going to really be in our way unless we trade back. If we really have dead set on anybody, we can take them at 9. So it doesn't really change too much for us. I guess Aaron Rodgers leaving really helps us confidence-wise. I just think it's hard to get over that hump of beating Green Bay. Just everybody's has that feeling of like, no matter how good we start the game off, Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and beat us. That's gone. But Packers loading up with more capital doesn't bode well for us. They're great. They're a great run organization. They usually draft very well, even though they're not picking offense in the first rounds because they had Aaron Rodgers. But they usually hit on their first and second round picks. These guys usually turn into NFL starters who play for their team for a long time. So that's something that we have to worry about, because if Jordan Love is, you know what I mean, decent at all, they'll probably re-sign him this year on a quality deal, on a team-friendly deal, and they'll have a bunch of picks.
They have to decide on his 5th-year option by next month.
That's what is it already his 4th year?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, wow.
They have to decide on his 5th-year option next month. Even if Jordan Love is 60% of what Aaron Rodgers was,
we'll probably get some kind of extension, yeah.
Yeah, the Packers will be okay. A couple of things that did happen, not necessarily happen, but a couple of rumors that are floating out there that might affect the Bears directly. Arizona and Houston are trying to trade out of 2 and 3. If they can't, Houston, there's a lot of talk about Houston not sold on a quarterback, CJ Stroud falling. Arizona, same thing. They're just, they're trying to trade out. And the biggest name so far that we've heard trying to trade up to those 2 and 3 spots is the Minnesota Vikings. Why would they do that? Are they
I
not sold on Kirk Cousins? It's the last year of his contract.
I think a guy like CJ Stroud would do pretty well somewhere like Minnesota with like already an established passing game where they tell him like throw it to him every play. I think that'd be a good scenario for him. I don't really understand why he's falling. You said that test he didn't do very well on. I don't know. I don't know how a test overrides the quality of his play.
Here's the thing with the S2 test that a lot of people are talking about. A lot of players, coaches, GMs, they swear by this. This is going to be the new standard. I talked about Justin Fields scoring high on it. Bryce Young scored high on it. Anything above 80 is supposed to be a good indicator of a good NFL player. Anything less is just average. But CJ Stroud, because this, goes into, I guess it tests like your ability to memorize things, your ability to diagnose, your ability to react, impulse control, a whole bunch of stuff. And he scored an 18. And this is something you can prepare for as well. And he scored an 18. And I guess it's supposed to be a good indicator. A lot of former players swear by this, swear by this test. A lot of GMs and scouts and everything else swear by this test. There was a report by NBC's Peter King that said that CJ Stroud is no longer a lock for a top 5 pick because of this test.
Yeah, I saw that. He said top 7 though.
And Tennessee is a team to look out for because I guess Tennessee really likes CJ Stroud, so they might trade up for him.
For me, what I was thinking was in my head, the Steelers have been talking about moving up to 9 to get Carter. I think if Stroud falls, I think that's a perfect place for him to go because even if he's a knucklehead, I think Mike Tomlin will knock some sense into him.
No, I think Mike Tomlin's very confident for some reason. I don't know why, but he's confident with Kenny Pickett. He just came out and said that they don't have any glaring holes on their roster because of what they did in free agency. So he was talking about that number 32 overall pick. Talking about a quarterback hungry team, need a team maybe that's something that they can play with. Somebody can trade up for Tanner McKee or some shit. I don't know. But Tennessee, which I don't know why Tennessee would do it because you're a rebuilding team. You have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL now that you got Taylor Lewan gone, Nate Davis gone. You got no wide receiver core. Why would you bring a rookie quarterback into that if you're a GM? That's a Ryan Pace type of move.
I was literally just going to interrupt and say that's what the Bears did to Justin Fields and tried to ruin his career. But I don't know. I guess we both have high hopes that it's going to pan out. So I would guess that it's like, when are you going to have the chance again to get somebody with this much talent? Like, unless you're going to go full tank next year. And even then you're rolling the dice. You got to be top 2, 3. And it's like I said, do what the Bears did and get a guy who's got high talent that people are down on for whatever the reason is, and try and coach him up. I mean, for me in my head, if I'm the GM, if I'm the coach, I'm thinking my culture. Like, what am I paying the coach for if I can only draft players who are really good and extremely coachable and already quality players? Like, isn't his job to coach these guys up a little bit? These are what we're paying these guys for in the first place. And if some guy's weakness is, bad at test taking, because I would, like you said, if it's something you could study for, I would imagine he just didn't care, which I guess is concerning in all its own. But I don't think he's stupid. Like, if he was dumb, he wouldn't do so well in college football. I mean, it is a lot easier than the NFL, but it's still like if you had an easy tell where they could just like, oh, we're going to blitz them or show them mixed coverages and that confuses them, like we would have known that. Like, it's not like Georgia just runs vanilla cover 3 the whole time. He fucking lit them up for 400 yards. So I don't think he's actually bad at the things that happen in the test. My guess is he's probably high or something. You know what I mean? Not to talk shit about him or start any rumors. Or he just didn't care and bombed the test, or he was nervous, or so I don't know what for whatever reason. But you said an average score is 80, and he got an 18. Like, what is it? He retarded then? Like, I'm what is that? I don't know how these numbers correlate. Like, so we'll see. But in my head, I would, if I was them, I would, like I said, if I'm Pittsburgh, if I'm Washington Redskins, somebody like that, like, why not roll the dice? And he's better than what you got, and was a top 5 talent, Heisman quality quarterback with high upside.
Well, I'll tell you what, too. Just a couple of rumors that Houston not being sold at a quarterback at number 2, which is fine, whatever. But apparently, the pick everybody was talking about was, oh yeah, if they're not picking quarterback, they're going to go Will Anderson number 2. Apparently, this is rumors, and of course, we're only a couple days away from the draft, so a lot of it is poppycock. But
Smoke and mirrors there.
they are reportedly more interested in Tyree Wilson than Will Anderson. And if that's the case, there's a decent possibility that either Jalen Carter or Will Anderson fall to 9. It just all depends on what transpires in terms of teams trading up, what Atlanta does at number 8, because that's going to be our biggest threat to land one of those guys is going to be Detroit at 6, Seattle and Detroit at 5 and 6 taking Jalen Carter, and Atlanta taking Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson if either one of those are there. So my biggest thing is, if the dominoes fall, this could be if the Bears don't trade out of number 9, which I don't. I think that if there's nobody there like top end like that, like a Jalen Carter or a Tyree Wilson or a Will Anderson, a Devin Witherspoon, I think they trade out.
I think if Carter or Will Anderson or Tyree's not there, they're not picking there, no matter what. I mean, it depends, I guess, who falls. We might be forced to pick there. If, like, let's say all the quarterbacks got taken and Jalen Carter got taken and Tyree Wilson. Like, is anybody trying to trade up to get Christian Gonzalez? Like, I guess maybe, or Paris Johnson. So we might not have a partner if one of these quarterbacks don't fall. But what it's sounding like, if Stroud falls, that means Anthony Richardson's going to fall. So somebody's going to want to move up to 9 to get one of those guys. And we'll be more than willing, and we're going to be the first people they call because we don't need a quarterback. I think if, like you said, if those top end guys aren't there at 9,
apparently Arizona is in love with Paris Johnson Jr. I don't think they take him 3. I think they trade back to 7 or something like that and try to get him. But if they pick Paris Johnson at 3, oh my God,
that might start some weird dominoes where somebody else takes a tackle. I really don't want that to happen. Because if none of the tackles get picked by 9, we can happily fall back to 17, and we'll end up with worst case scenario Broderick Jones.
The guy that they want, Darnell Wright.
Yeah, Darnell Wright. I mean, we've been doing this. I mean, every week if you guys have been tuning in, and we haven't heard much about Darnell Wright until about 2 weeks ago. He had an amazing pro day for the Bears. I heard it was really impressive. I don't know if it's on film. I haven't seen it. And then I heard some stories from the Senior Bowl and the Combine where he was just dominating. But I hadn't heard any of this. Like you said, now we're locked in. I think I lost your picture.
Oh well, it's his athleticism that a lot of people are just head over heels over. So how about now? My bad.
Yeah, you're back. So it looks like that's who we really want if we had to pick a tackle. So falling back seems fine. I don't know. On PFF, he seems to be there every time at 17. But if the intel we got on him, everybody's got to have it on him. So if he's really that good, I don't know if he'll be there at 17. But one of the tackles will be. And I don't even think we'll end up with Broderick Jones. I think Saransky, Paris Johnson Jr. or Darnell Wright will be there at 17. So I think falling back's the move. None of the defenders will be there. I've been seeing a lot of smoke for Van Ness at 9. I really hope that doesn't happen.
I hope not either. That would be a Shea McClellan type pick, and I'm just not.
No, I'm not here for that.
Not for it. And I think he's smart enough not to do that. I think Van Ness goes to the Patriots at pick 14. It just seems like a Bill Belichick move, if I'm being honest. So But speaking of
That, and
draft,
I've been seeing in the community, the Bears fans, Bleacher Report community, a lot of everybody seems to want Bijan Robinson. I just don't understand it. I know you've been back and forth some weeks.
well, okay, I'll say this. Like, I'll play devil's advocate here. I'll do pros and cons, obviously, of drafting Bijan at 9, right? So if you draft Bijan at 9, he's an elite player. Elite. He's an all-around back. He's not Saquon level, but he's pretty darn close. But my whole thing is, like if you had an offense of Justin Fields, because with Bijan, you're not tackling him one-on-one. You're not, you know what I'm saying? He can make a guy miss. If you're running a zone read with Justin Fields and Bijan Robinson, that's going to be pretty effective because you're not bringing down Bijan, with a single defender, and you're not bringing Justin Fields down with a single defender. So if you have an offense of Justin Fields, Bijan Robinson, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney, Jack Tunyon, and Cole Kmet, that's pretty potent, But on the flip side, it's a running back in the top 10,
Yeah.
and I don't think there's that big of a gap between Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs. I really don't. I personally would take Jahmyr Gibbs over Bijan Robinson because I like Jahmyr Gibbs' speed, his breakaway speed. There's the other kid too out of Texas A&M that will probably be available in the second round if they want to take a running back that high. I'd be okay with that because again, I'm a big speed guy at running back. I just feel like speed's something you can't teach. You can you can work at catching and working your zones and one cut reads and everything else like that. You can't teach speed.
Yeah. And like you said, in our system where somebody's going to have to account for Justin Fields, it's going to be a lot of make a guy miss and you're out of there. I've been reading the Chiefs are really high on Gibbs. They're looking to probably draft him at where they are
31, but then they also might go after like Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I saw that too. It was those two. They worked out Zay Flowers. They always seem to make a really good pick at that late in the draft.
Well, when you have fucking Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't really matter what pick you have. I mean, he made Juju look good this year, and
I think Juju is good. I think Juju is good. I think he's a 2. I think Juju's a really good 2, and Travis Kelce's their 1, so he's a 2 on the Chiefs. But he looked good with Ben Roethlisberger and AB. He was he's very good. If you can't really guard him one-on-one, he's good at winning on slants. Really, that's really all that. He's a good short route runner, big body. Like I said, I wouldn't have been unhappy if we ended up with Juju. I think he's quality wide receiver, and I think he's a block. He's a block wide receiver who's willing to go out there and block, and he's a team guy.
All right, so draft is a couple days away, man. I know you're excited. I'm fucking pumped. I can't wait. How about we get into a couple of these mock drafts? If you want to go first, I'm gonna try to bring up mine and put mine on my screen, so you'll lose me for a minute.
But either way, if you've been watching, they've probably been scrolling through this. I plan on just having them scrolling through the entire video. So you've probably already seen them by now. But let me see. Let me find mine. Where did I do mine? All right, we'll do what is that? Is that yours? It's flipped too. It's backwards.
Oh, so that's not gonna work then.
You can't mirror there's no mirror.
No, there's no mirror.
And I can't see your first pick. I can read it because it's backwards, but either way, like I said, they'll be up. I'm going to edit the video in a way that our mocks will be scrolling. So even by this point, they've seen them. All of your videos are back. All your pictures are backwards. It looks like.
Yeah, it does that when I have my Bears thing up too. So I'll just put that up because it at least looks decent.
Yeah. My mock with the trade is the Bears trade 17 or trade pick 9 to the Steelers for 17 and 49. And we take Darnell Wright at 17. I think that's who we want. Looking at it, I didn't really pick with my heart there. I picked what I think this is what the Bears are going to do. Something like this, back to 16 or 17, and take the best tackle there, Darnell and Darnell Wright being the one they want the most. Um, and then in my second round, I think similar to what you had. I also don't have you on the camera right now.
Yeah, I'm finishing up my stuff here. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Um, I have Darnell Washington at pick 49. I believe you had him there as well. I think we have a similar one. Then I have at 53 Tuli Tuipulotu from USC. And then Luke Whippier in the end of the second round. I think these are all really realistic. I don't know about Darnell Washington. Right there, I just picked best available because I think I just didn't see anybody I really liked. I don't think he'll be there. I don't know. I think he might be there at 49, and I don't know if the Bears will take him just because we signed Tunyon, and I was actually watching Poles talk about Tunyon, and he was really high on him, it seemed like. And then to close it out, just a few, I think, quality guys to put on the D line since we didn't get anybody top. I got Nick Herbig, KJ Henry, Mike Morris from Michigan, and then from Michigan as well, Oluwatimi, the center in the fifth round. I didn't know he was graded so bad. I don't imagine he'll be there in the fifth round. If we end up with him in the fifth round, that'll be a steal.
I agree completely. He's on mine too, and I know you know that. He I don't understand either. Like he was the best lineman in the country, college wise. Like I don't get it.
I think
It's
he'll be. I don't.
mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's weird. I think he'll be the third round if I had to guess. But I think that would be still a really good spot to get him. I think that kid can play. I think he's, as long as he doesn't get hurt, I think he's just a really quality center. But like I said, I really think if the trade's to be done, it'll be with the Steelers. There has been some, like you were talking about earlier, some smoke with the Titans. We'll see what they do, but we could always fall back to 11 and then fall back again.
That's the trade scenario I have.
Okay, yeah.
So the trade scenario I have is that Tennessee jumps from 11 to 9, and this is of course assuming that CJ Stroud falls. So they're going to trade up to 9. They're going to take CJ Stroud, and then the Bears will trade from 11 to 17 with Pittsburgh. I have Darnold Wright as well. I'm going 17. At 49, this one for the trade one, I do not have Darnell Washington. That's in my non-trade.
Okay, that was your non-trade one. Okay.
At 49, I have Josh Downs, wide receiver out
The
of
wide
North
receiver.
Carolina.
Interesting.
I just think, in my personal opinion, I do not believe that either Chase Claypool or Darnell Mooney will not be a Chicago Bear next year. One of those guys is walking in the offseason, and I really
100%.
think that they need to draft a wide receiver. Plus, you need as many weapons as possible. At 53, I've got cornerback DJ Turner, and that's a pick that I got with trading with Tennessee. At 61, Luke Whippier, the center. 64, I have that the Texas A&M running back. It's like Akane or Achane or some shit like that. But the kid is a blazer. At pick 72, I have Nick Herbig, who is an edge out of Wisconsin. That kid's a beast. Kobe Turner, Eli Ricks, cornerback at 133. So you get a couple of your corners. I also have Oluwatimi, center at 136. I got Coburn from Texas. I got Anthony Johnson Jr., the safety. I do think they take a safety in this year's draft at some point, only because with
Eddie Jackson.
EJ's
It's a
injury
prove a
history.
year. Yeah. If he gets hurt again, we have to move off of him.
Yeah, and then Aubrey Miller Jr., the linebacker from Jackson State. There's a lot of there seems to be a lot of talk about that kid. He just seems like he's got some swag in him. And then if the non-trades, just the important, I mean, it's kind of the same, but if we were to stick at 9, I have them taking Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. I just think I like Jalen Johnson. I don't think he's a one. I don't think he's a number one corner. I think you need a Devin Witherspoon or a Christian Gonzalez, somebody that you could put on their best guy. And I think he's better suited as a two. You have a stud quarter on the other side, and that might be worthy of a top 10 pick. Devin Witherspoon, Christian Gonzalez, whoever. I have them personally taking Devin Witherspoon. I think he's the best corner in the draft. I have Darnell Washington going at their next pick. He was available in that mock draft. He again is just the one thing about Darnell Washington is that I think he's a better blocker. And I think that next year's draft with 2 first-round picks, they need to get a tight end because the guy that they just signed from Green Bay, he's only on a 1-year deal. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they extend him.
They probably will because he's from. I mean, put a discount, but it's fine to have 3 or 4 tight ends. I really like Washington just because with Justin Fields and we go out in 2 or 3 tight end sets, they're going to have to match big. And that means that like Darnell Washington's going to have like a little ass corner on him, or even then it's got a linebacker on him and it's going to be in run, like where it's going to be one-on-one coverage, or if we run a little play action, it's going to be one-on-one, him run a little corner route, him boxing out, making big plays. But I think he's too much of a freak. I think it's hard to judge what's going to happen in the draft. I don't think he'll be there that late. I really hope he does, because I think we're going to have to go away from the monsters of the midway mold, and it's going to be offense. I think we're going to have to get some weapons, and we're going to have to get with the times. Even though Mahomes, they had to let some of those guys go, they still got, like you said, the Jujus, the Travis Kelce's. They draft Skylar Moore, or they go out and get they trade for James Toney. You know what I mean? They'll get a new running back every year if he's not working out. And because they know they need the fresh legs, the explosion, and the versatility on offense. So, and these guys didn't prove. Ellis Jones, Mooney, Claypool, none of them proved it. So none of their jobs are safe. So I do think we should draft 1 or 2 weapons to light a fire to them and let them know that everybody's going to get to play. And if you don't make plays, you're out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's backwards, and I know it'll play backwards, but if you take a look at my graphic behind me, these are the last 5 first-round picks for the Chicago Bears, and only one of them is currently on the team, and that's Justin Fields. As long as we're looking back 5 years from now and we have more than one guy on our roster, I think Ryan Poles has a W.
That's what I was saying about the Packers earlier, that like they don't draft a lot of offense, but when they draft somebody in the first round or the second round, they play on their team and they play for 5 to 10 years, or somebody trades for them, or they're really wanted in free agency and you just have to let them go because they're so good. But the Packers build their team in-house. You really can't, the NFL is the NBA. You can't just buy your Super Bowl. It's really a culture thing. It's really a team thing, because there's going to have to be players who aren't getting paid that much money who play way higher up and buy in, and things, people who get paid a lot of money who have to take a lesser role and again buy in and things like that. Like I said, it's a group, it's a team effort, and it's a culture thing. And hopefully we build that, like you said, where we're drafting quality players every round that stick around and become friends, and they're building with each other, and we become a family more so than just a business.
Yeah, you're not going to hit on every pick if you're Ryan Poles, but you have to hit on your first and second round picks. And realistically, you have to hit on your first round picks. I mean,
they don't even have to be stars. They just got to be NFL starters.
Yes, they have to be contributors in some way, shape, or form. And they can't be off your roster in a couple of years. They can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't have a Mitchell Trubisky type of drafting. You just can't do that. But last year, he turned what he had into something more. Now, there's been a couple of people out on Twitter that really think that Ryan Poles probably is going to do something crazy and just trade completely out of the first round.
I would be highly upset with that. We have to get a tackle or a defensive lineman in the first round. I don't care if it's in the 20s. I would rather it be around 15 to 20 in there. But
well, I see a lot of majority of people like they're either, oh, he's gonna trade out of the first round completely, or he's gonna pick twice in the first round.
I do think something. I think he's either going to trade up either late into the first round or early into the second for somebody that slides.
What if he somehow ended up getting, let's just say, um, he drafts somebody at 9, or he trades back to 17. He takes Darnell Wright, then he trades back up to like 23, 24, and drafts Bijan.
Yeah, or something like that. I do see something like that happen. Or yeah, Bijan, or if JSN somehow slides. Speaking of that, well, real quick, I'll go through my mock draft real quick before we go on to the next topic. Where there is no trade, I got at 9 the Bears taking JSN. I think Jalen Carter will be gone. I think all those other D linemen will be gone. And like I said, I want to be consistent. I hate Ohio State, but I just have a feeling about JSN, and I think if we pair him with Justin Fields, I think that'll light a fire under him, both of them. The second round, DJ Turner. He's starting to slide a little bit. I think that'd be a great pick. I think he's a really good corner. He can also move around. He can be a 2. I wouldn't say he's a 1, not yet. He's really fast, though. But he can play in the slot. He's very good in man press, too. Michigan plays a lot of in-your-face press man coverage. And so he's good at that. And it's a lot harder to learn that. You know what I mean? It's easier to kind of learn zone and learn the intricacies of that. Then in the second round, later in the second round, I've got Keanu Benton, the interior D lineman on Wisconsin. He's like a 1 technique, I believe. And then in the third round, I got Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame. I like him a lot. I'm surprised he was available in the third round. I think he will get picked in the second round. And then in the fourth round, I got Blake Freeland. I remember you were talking about him earlier in the year. I think if we're forced to pick at 9, I think Ryan Poles will trust his gut and pick a tackle later in the draft and kind of hopes he finds another Braxton Jones type. Maybe he'll pick a couple late round tackles and a guard, 2 tackles and a guard, and one of them will pan out, or 2 of the 3 will pan out. Then Tommy, Eli Ricks, Mike Morris, Bryce Ford Wheaton to close it out. But like I said, I think if we're forced to pick at 9, we'll pick I think it'll be something like what you did, either the corner, or like I said, Gonzalez or Weatherspoon, or it's going to be JSN. In reality, though, I think we'll be trading back no matter what, unless, like I said, pray that Jalen Carter falls to us. But with all this CJ Stroud falling stuff, it seems only logical that those 3 defensive linemen are going to get picked before we get the pick at 9. And then whatever quarterback's available, we trade back. Like I said, hopefully, I mean, I would hope it's 11 and then to 17, because then we'd pick up 3 or 4 more picks. And that would really, like I said, secure the future.
Yeah, because you can use those picks to trade back up into the first round to select another talent.
Yeah.
Man, so if they trade back up into the first round, it's going to be for a wide receiver or running back, or, maybe Mayer falls and they select him.
Mayer, Kincaid, like you said, Quentin Johnson. If he likes him, I don't really like him,
but Jordan Addison.
They've lost a lot of traction. Jordan Addison had a lot of smoke going up before the combine, but his hype has died down a lot. Yeah, he'll probably be there late in the first round.
Yeah, so I mean, there's good possibilities. I think Ryan Poles probably does pick twice in the first round, but I think he'll be smart about it. He's got 10 picks. If he trades back twice from 9 to 11, 11 to 17, he's probably turning those 10 picks into 14 or 15 picks, and then he can package up, a second rounder this year, a third rounder, because they'll have, they'll take one of their extra seconds, they'll take a third rounder, package that up, probably one of the lower seconds, and trade, back into the first round. Thursday. We got to make it to Thursday.
It's the biggest draft of our lifetime, I think. I think the Mitchell Trubisky one was a close second. We were in a position to draft a game changer in that one, and it all went to shit. But this one, we have our quarterback of the future. We have all the capital. We did decent in free agency, and barring how this goes, you know what I mean, there'll be more cuts on June 1st or the 6th or some shit like that. We might get another, you know what I mean, if we fill all our needs in free agency, we might the rebuild might get switched, and it might be more like, okay, we filled all the holes in free agency. Now, hey, why can't we sign a veteran an unhappy veteran?
It's not just that. It's why hasn't DeAndre Hopkins been traded yet?
I think everyone's waiting until after the draft. I think this draft, although it's not top heavy, I think it's filled with quality players. I think there's a lot of guys from like pick 10 to like middle of the second round who like you're not going to be losing a lot out of.
Like if you pick up an extra second rounder in a trade back, would you package that? Would you package that extra second rounder, send it to Arizona for DeAndre Hopkins?
I don't. As of right now, no. I would only get D-Hop if we really landed somebody on defense. I think D-Hop is for a win now team. I think before, when I was kind of harping for him, I didn't realize how much money he was going to make. What is he making, $30 million a year?
No, he's only making 19.
Oh, 19. Well, I guess maybe. I don't know for a second. We got more already. I guess I would leave that up to Justin Fields. I think that might be something you go to Justin and say, hey, call D-Hop, see if you guys are vibing, if he wants to come play with us. And if you thought that would take him over the top, then yeah, I guess go for it, swinging him, swing. If, like you said, we added another one. But now that we got DJ Moore, I'm really kind of off the D-Hop train. Before we got DJ Moore, if we were in a predicament where we didn't have DJ Moore, 1,000% I'd say do it. But I think we already got too many guys in the wide receiver room, and I don't want to add a third guy who's potentially going to want to re-sign in a year, or we're going to have to restructure in a year or something. We're going to have to make it.
He did say he doesn't want more money, and he's got 3 years left on his deal.
I saw that. The next year it's 30 mil though, right, or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 20 something mil.
So I don't know. I guess if you held him to his word, that'd be fine. But like I just said, our wide receiver room is filled already. I'd kind of rather get a young guy who we're more in control of, and that
Chase Young.
Yeah, I want Chase Young. I'm like, I'm shocked that there isn't been any smoke. That hasn't even been mentioned. I saw a couple stories, obviously, when they declined his 5th-year option, but that says a lot to me. A young defensive end who was, what was he, the second pick in the draft?
Yeah.
Who was touted as better than the Bosas. That's what the defensive line coach at Ohio State was telling everybody in the draft, that he was better than both the Bosas. He has had some injuries, but he's got a decent body of work, and I won't say he's a bum, but he's slightly above average, I'd say, with some high upside. So I would say after the draft, maybe even during the draft, maybe we'll see something. But Ed Oliver, that smoke kind of died down, but we'll see where that goes. Maybe they're trying to make some room for – I know D-Hop said he wants to go to the Bills. Maybe they're trying to make some – they'll trade Ed Oliver to make a little room for D-Hop. But I don't think D-Hop's a move right now. I know it seems like we've switched sides where you were like, no, we're not getting any veterans. And now,
I'm playing both sides of the card a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I can see where some people would want him. I mean, I'm so indecisive when it comes to it, just because.
Yeah, I said, I would have to see how the draft goes. If we got Paris Johnson Jr. or Darnell Washington or Darnell Wright, then maybe fine. We got our tackles. We got a running back. We got a tight end. Why not take a swing at D-Hop? If he intended on drafting a wide receiver in the second or third round anyway, why not? We got a little extra money. But I would like to spend that money on a disgruntled young player that maybe we can trade for. Like you said, if we're adding, we trade with Tennessee and we get a third and a fourth. We trade with Pittsburgh and we get a second or something. Why can't we trade that second for Chase Young? I mean, or Ed Oliver or whoever, even if it's a little more than it's worth, it was free. Something like that. I'm thinking something like I said, after doing some more research about what we have to spend by the time the season starts, like you said, it's more than likely a re-sign player. Like it'd be more likely money we would use to re-sign somebody and give to it in a guaranteed deal. Um, but on our team right now, that only leaves Mooney, Jalen Johnson, Komet, and Claypool. And I don't think they're going to pay Mooney or Claypool because I think that would cause a problem if they didn't pay both of them. And maybe Jalen Johnson will get an extension, but right now it's not worth that much. So I don't think that would eat too much of our money. And the same with Komet. He's a middle of the pack. Like Dalton Schultz just got 1 year for $8 million or something, right? $7 million or something like that. It's like Dalton Schultz is better than Cole Komet.
I'd agree.
And so he doesn't have much leverage. So he's only going to get $8-9 million deal over 3 or 4 years. So we'll see. Like I said, I want to see how this plays out. All the people who are whining have kind of shut up. I guess the agents probably told them, like, nobody's making a move. This is the draft. You guys don't matter right now. The college kids matter. So it's been real quiet on the D-Hop front, the Ed Oliver front, all these guys who potentially are going to get traded. I'm guessing maybe Zach Wilson's going to get traded after the Aaron Rodgers news.
I don't think so.
What is he going to sit under Aaron Rodgers and learn?
Why wouldn't he?
I mean, because they just don't like him. Like, it's not that he was. I mean, it's one thing that he was bad, but like, don't they like? They don't like Zach Wilson's attitude or whatever. Or the coaching.
I understand that, but at the same time, you're not getting anything for him in return.
Yeah, I guess Trey Lance doesn't even have a market, and
you might as well just see if Zach Wilson catches. Maybe this lights a fire under Zach Wilson. He learns from one of the greatest of all time, and he could be serviceable. I'm not saying he's going to turn into the next Aaron Rodgers, but it seems like whoever follows Green Bay quarterbacks. Plus, when the Jets did this 15 years ago with Brett Favre, they didn't have a number 2 overall pick, or whatever Zach Wilson was. They didn't have that behind Brett Favre to learn behind Brett Favre when they traded for Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Now that they have that, use it. I mean, let's see how Jordan Love looks. He learned under Aaron Rodgers for the last 4 years. Maybe, Zach Wilson, who already has NFL experience, he goes in, he learns for, 2 years max, because I don't think Aaron Rodgers is playing any more than 2 years, and you go from there.
Yeah, I think he plays out his contract, unless he wins the Super Bowl in the second year. But I don't know. He's a choke artist. That's about it. I guess before we go, I had one question. We'll do do you have a surprise top 10 pick and a surprise first round pick?
All right. I was not prepared for this, but surprise first round or a surprise pick at number 9.
No, I'm just saying in general, any player in the top 10 who you don't think people will be surprised it gets picked in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You go first. Let me think about this for a second.
I don't think it'll be much of a surprise for us, but I think if the Bears are stuck there, I think Darnell Wright is going to get picked at 9. I think we love him, and I think he's like the 4th rated tackle, 5th rated tackle. I think it'll be Van Ness. I think he's been gaining a lot of smoke. I think he's got that allure of, he only played 2 years and he had a really good, or 1 year and he had a really good year. What's he going to look like if he starts? I don't know, but I think Van Ness will be a shocker in the top 10, and I think if the Bears pick Darnell Wright, I think teams will be calling that a reach.
I'm gonna say Kalijah Cansey. He's gonna go anywhere from 13 to 18, possibly in the 20s. But I think there's going to be a team that just loves his athleticism and thinks that he's going to be the next Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
I think somebody will reach for him in the top 10. That would probably be one of mine. I think you're right. If depending on how the dominoes fall at 2 and 3, you might see a very weird run of tackles.
Yeah.
So Darnell Wright is is one of those that might be there. Um, my pick for a surprise, just first round pick, somebody who shouldn't, maybe shouldn't be drafted. I really think Hendon Hooker gets picked in the first round.
You think so? Think
I
somebody
really
makes a
think
move?
so. I think if Minnesota can't trade up, I think Minnesota takes Hendon Hooker at 23.
That would be interesting. That would be really interesting. I think DJ Turner is going to get picked in the first round. Like I said, he ran really good 40 time. I'm really high on him. I haven't gassed up too many Michigan guys, but I think he's a really good corner who, with that speed, I think somebody's going to be like, man, I want that kid.
Well, it's a premium position too.
Yeah. Now,
You
like I
know,
said, and now it's like wide receiver, you need three.
yeah. Hendon Hooker for me, definitely. Like I said, I really think he gets picked in the first round by somebody. Um, I'm trying to think of another one. There's not really much. I mean,
Like I said, it wouldn't be a huge surprise. Like I said earlier, picks like, I won't say 10, maybe like 12, 13 to like the middle of the second round. Like there isn't a huge gap in the skill. There's a lot of quality players in this draft. Or like if you, like you said, if we pick up an extra second round pick, that we're going to get a starter more than likely.
I will say this though. I really think there's a good possibility that more running backs get taken in the first round than wide receivers.
I think it's only going to be Gibbs and Bijan. So you're saying you think there's only going to be one wide receiver in the first round?
I think three running backs get taken in the first round and only two wide receivers, with the two wide receivers being JSN and Quentin Johnston. I don't think I don't see Jordan Addison getting picked in the first round. There's just I, I don't know. There's so much going around. Running backs seem to, maybe making a comeback a little bit, not to the extent of what it was, 10 years ago, but I think the tail end of the first round, you might see just a run of running backs. Philly, Dallas, Kansas City, um, like
Yeah, and you
I
want
don't
to
know.
kind of get him in the first round because you got that 5th-year option and locked in. You never have to pay him, and you get to beat his body to death, and never, like you said, never have to ever give him a real check.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be my bold prediction for the first round on Thursday.
I don't I don't think that's happening. I think Bijan and Gibbs are going to go for sure. But I think Addison Reed, off of his hype alone, somebody in the late first round. I don't know who's going to take him. I don't know who it is, but I think John, and like I said, Zay Flowers has got a lot of traction too. So I think there's going to be like 4 wide, just because that's how it goes. I don't. But that's about it. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of things happened. We weren't going to get a mock in before, give our final predictions of what's going on. But like I said, I think I'm confident to say Tom thinks it's the same, that the Bears are going to be trading back, barring Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson or Will Anderson. I just don't envision them pick. I think, like Tom said, Devin Witherspoon's good. There's some decent tackles, but I think if we want a corner or a tackle, they'll both be there at 15, 16, or 17. A quality one that's going to step in and be ready to start and make an impact on our team. So I think there's no reason for us to pick at 9. Aaron Rodgers is finally gone. So now is our time to take the NFC. I can't even say take back when it wasn't ever ours, not while we were alive. But to finally take control of the NFC North. The Lions got a nice young team, but they got Goff, and they got their problems. Their defense is terrible, and we're going to
need
be
a wide receiver now too.
Yeah, we're an offense heavy team, so I think we're going to shit on them. I think losing Thielen's going to hurt Minnesota a decent amount. That was Kirk's safety.
They're probably losing Dalvin Cook too.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So, and their defense is just aging. So I think this is prime position. Poles has to hit on these draft picks. And I'm honestly more focused. I'm comfortable that with he's got 10 draft picks. I think he's going to do good with 6 or 7 of them. And I'm more worried about, I don't know if worry is the word, but when are they going to make a move? There's a trade. We're trading for a player. I'm calling it. I've been talking about it. I don't know if it's Chase Young, Ed Oliver. I don't know who it is, what disgruntled pass rusher it is right now, or the interior defensive lineman, but I think we are going to make a move for one of them. I think I'm going to be watching the June cuts heavy, and we're going to end up with somebody who's ready to come in and make an impact, because I don't think we're going to be able to get anybody at the top of the draft like we hoped.
I'd agree, 100%. I think there's a big trade coming, and you know what? A lot of trades out of nowhere happened on draft day. The AJ Brown trade came out of nowhere last year.
No, nothing about that.
So, Bears fans, be excited. A lot of exciting news coming. This was a completely, Bears podcast this week.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing on Thursday. Nothing but Bears. So we'll see you guys on Thursday.
Yep. Beginning of a new era.
Let's get pumped.
Let's see. Like I said, we'll see you guys Thursday night or Friday morning first.